showing you how to roof a house of different wall height. So this building actually have different wall height, so we're showing you how to roof this building. Already you can see that the walls are already at different height and they're extended inside, so you will not stop at this point. You will extend the wall a little bit inside because the roof are slanty. So roof slants like this, so the wall should be visible. So you will have to do the walls to be extended a little bit. It will not end at this point, but it should be extended a little bit inside, just like you can see over here. So I can come over to my first story to roof my building at a different story in case of any editing or correction as I continue. So if you don't know how to bring this over here, how to trace what is happening at your ground floor story, once you right click, you click on trace, then it brings this particular aspect to show, or you can choose preference by what to trace below current story. So right now I can now go to slab. I'll show that I'll put the slab thickness of 100 and make the color white, and I click OK. Once I click OK, then I'm going to ensure that the slab is actually on a polygonal shape so that I'm able to place the ceiling in this building, because this building is not a rectangle building, is a polygonal building. So I will trace the building like this. Okay. So once I'm done, I'll offset all edge by clicking here, then change this to offset all edge of around 2 to 5 mm. So I can check what I've done in the elevation to be sure it's at the exact place so that I want it to be. If it's not, I can bring it a little bit down. So I can use this as a reference. So it is a little bit above. So Control D and drag it. You can actually do this from the settings, but to save time, I'm going to do this from here. So I can now start placing the parapet of the concrete fascia on this aspect only. So I'll come to concrete fascia. I'll come to object. I'll search on mode. So I'll get mode in straight. Once I click on this, I'll make the first one to be 250. I can choose your design you want, so I will leave it at this crown one. Okay. So I'll come over to place the concrete fascia. So Control E. So I'm just trying to finish up on the one of the same height, the one of lesser wall height. So once I'm done, I'll now do the same thing for the ones of a higher wall height. So let me confirm if where my concrete fascia is at the right position. So it's a little bit higher, so I will just highlight it and bring it down to where it should be. Then I'll start duplicating this exact one. Control Shift E. Okay. Control Shift E is to rotate a copy. Control Shift E is to rotate a copy. Control D is to move this. So you can check our previous videos on all Archicad shortkeys. All Archicad shortkeys to help you to understand and to know all our shortkeys, all the shortkeys in Archicad. So it helps your work more easy and fast. So I can duplicate this, Control Shift D to this other area. So since the wall is there, to just lap on the wall, so this will become straight. Why this will move to 45 degrees. If yours is not showing this, ensure that these two things are on: guideline and special snap point. Control Shift E again. And also, if you observe my concrete facial, the black points are always at the external side. The black point, this black bullet over here, is always outside, not inside. That shows that you're not putting your concrete facial wrongly. So Control Shift E. Ensure that I rotate it in a way that the black point, the black bullet, is always outside. So Control Shift E. So once I'm done putting all the concrete facial on this roofing height, I will not do the same of the different of the other roofing height. So Control Shift E, ensure that that black bullet is rotated to be outside always. You can see it's always outside. Control Shift E. So this particular place is in between two walls, so both of them will be straight to lap at the wall, because the wall is higher. The wall is higher, is of a higher height. So Control Shift E, you must rotate it. The black bullet is always outside. Control D will now move it. So Control Shift D is to move a copy, while Control D is to move that to or whatever you want to move. Control E is rotate, while Control Shift E is to rotate a copy like this. So I've rotated a copy. So there are many other shortkeys. Control key is a short key. Shift key is a short key. You can watch our previous videos on all Archicad shortkeys. So once I'm done with this one, I will then move over to the other height. Alright, I'm done placing the concrete fixture. So let's see what we have done. So this is it. So this is what I've done. I have successfully placed the concrete facial on this wall height. So right now I want to place the concrete facial on this other wall height. You can see them over here. We have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we'll go back to the first story to do the same. So I'll go to slab and 100 too. So I might increase it to maybe 750. So I'll click OK, and I'll come over here. Since it's rectangular in shape, I can now put this to be rectangle and just cover it over here. Then do an offset of all edges, same thing, 225. So I can open elevation to be sure it's actually placed on the right position. So it's a bit higher, so I'll bring it down. So this is it. So to duplicate it easily or fast to other areas, just use your alternate key, which is pick. You pick this up, so, and make the changes on all these ones too. So I'm going to place this one too over here, then do an offset also of 225. The same thing happens here too. Offset of 225. the last one by this left side, and an offset of 225. So once I'm done, I'll now look at what I've done also again. So it is well placed. So right now I want to place the concrete fascia, then roof the house. So I'll go back to objects, or better still, and just pick one of these concrete fascia. You can see what I'm doing, just duplicate it, Ctrl Shift D, and bring it over here. So you can see this is where the thing stops. So place it at 45 degrees. Yeah, and this one too should lap at the edge. So, but this concrete fascia is lower at position of where it should be. So we're going to bring it up. You can see it over here. So we're going to drag it, Ctrl D, and we'll drag it over here. So it's not at the right position. Okay, I think I did Ctrl Shift D. So Ctrl D. Okay, going to delete this. Okay, Ctrl D. All right. Okay, so let's confirm with show on in 3D. So you can see it's at the right position now. So we can now duplicate this. Come back to first story and start duplicating. So Ctrl Shift E to rotate the copy. Ctrl Shift E. Okay, and delete this. It's duplicated as well, so delete anyway. I can move this now to the right position. Then to place at this one also. So you can just stop here. You don't necessarily need to do everywhere because the roof will just cover it. So Ctrl Shift M is to mirror a copy. So that's what I've done now. So I'll just move it over to the side very fast. So I'll pick another one to the next aspect of the house. So this one, Ctrl E. Remember the black bullet should always be outside. So then Ctrl Shift E. Stop here. Then what else? The other side. So Ctrl Shift M. Remember, Ctrl Shift M. So I've mirrored the copy for the other side of this wall height. So we'll move on to the next one, which is this. Ctrl Shift E. They're actually of the same height. The one that the wall height are higher are all of the same height, while the ones that the wall height are lower are all of the same height. You can actually have more than 3 or 4 different wall height of a building. Just follow the same procedures applicable on all versions of Archicad. So just move this over here. Ctrl Shift M to mirror this copy. Then Ctrl Shift E. So let's see what we have done. So right now we have placed all the parapet and concrete fascia. So right now is to roof the house. So we are about to roof the house. So let's see, how are we going to roof this building? How are we going to roof this building? So this is how we're going to do it. So go back to first story. We'll follow almost the same step on how we placed the ceiling and the parapet. We'll follow almost the same step. You come over to roof, double click on roof. You just ensure that this offset is at 0. Ensure that it's at 0. So you can see it's already on roofing tie. This place are on white. My other angles are 10. So you can now maybe change your roof pitch. It's your choice, your roof angle. If I place mine to 35, it's just your choice and the choice of your client. So click OK. Ensure that it's still on complex roof because the roofing shape is quite complex. So I'll start from here again and continue the same way I place the parapet. So I'll neglect this one that the roof sheet is higher. So I'm neglecting it. So just follow. I will also neglect this too. I also neglect this to just continue and stop at where you can see over here. So I can go back to elevation to ensure that the roof is lapped on where I want. So it's a bit higher. I can pick it and drag it down. Control D. Okay, so we have roofed the ones of the same height or of a lower wall height. So now we want to roof the ones of a higher wall height. You can see we have not roofed this, we have not roofed this, and we still have 2 at the back. So come back to first story again, click on roofing again, and let's roof 1. So we can make it to be rectangle now. So once we roofed 1, you can check if actually at the right position. Open elevation. Okay, it's a bit higher. You can see it over here. So we'll drag it down. All right, we've successfully roofed this aspect. You can see show all in 3D. Let's see. So we have roofed this one, but I've not roofed this one to the back. But if you also observe, the roofing is not working like this. So for a condition like this, we'll have to make the roofing longer. So we'll come over here, highlight the roof and stretch it with offset edge. So we're going to stretch it inside more. Let's click show on 3D again. So it's now well placed. You can see this now. So this is what you do when you face this kind of challenge. So you come back to first story. Let's neglect this first. Let's roof the others and roof this also. Okay, this particular aspect has 2 parapets. I'm going to delete this one. So let's see how this one is. So the same thing is happening here too. So what are we going to do again? We're going to drag this in. So let's see if it is well placed now. Okay, it's now well placed, but a little bit. So we can actually extend it to even cover it. So let's move over to the last 2 at the back. So this one over here. So let's just extend it in. So we'll extend it in. Let's do it very fast. We'll extend it in. So let's see what we have roofed. So right now we've successfully roofed these aspects, just that these 2 at the back is still a little bit not correct. So we'll still extend this one in. And this one a bit in. Okay, let's confirm again. Okay, so this is how to roof this building when you have a building of different roof or wall height and you want to roof it. This is how to roof the building. But let's correct how the roof plan will be. We can't have a roof plan to be like this. You can't have a roof plan to be like this. So what we're going to do now is to correct it. So we'll pick on this one. We'll highlight one of them, right click, or can highlight all of them at once. Do them very fast and highlight all of them at once, then right click and split into single plane roof, split anyway. We'll still highlight them because they are still grouped. So click Ctrl Shift G to ungroup. So this back aspect, we don't need it, we can delete. These ones at the back, they are not showing, they're actually inside the roof. You can just delete all of them. Then why this one? You can now extend it using this. You can extend it to this aspect, because this is how the roofing should be, using move node to extend it. So you can see what I'm doing. So you can do the same thing over here. To make the roof looks real and the floor plan correct too, or rather than the roof plan to be correct. So you can now do the same thing over here. So I'll repeat the same thing. Okay. So this to make the roof plan looks real. Because one thing that Archicad Academy try to teach is to make sure that your design is realistic. So we are done by doing this. So remaining this last one. So once we are done, we can actually remove the parapet too, or you can leave it, it's your choice. You can move the parapet a little bit back to where it stopped. You can also move this too using offset and edge. Alright, we are done with the ones at the back. So you can also move this too. Ctrl Z, offset edge. Alright, so same thing happens here. So let's see what we have done, show all in 3D again. So it's still very well accurate. It's still very well accurate. So right now we'll now use so to make the roofing, actually we are done with what we have to do to roof the building at different heights, but to make the roofing more realistic, you can make use of CAD image. You can actually check this in our previous video. You can use marquee to cover the entire of the roof. Click on roofing, Ctrl A. We have highlighted the roofing. We'll come to CAD image, come to coverings, roof coverings, change the cladding to a roof shingle, which is like roof tiles. Put the thickness to be 35. come to framing, we don't do anything right here. Edge boards, we don't do anything. Soffit, we leave it like this. Flashings, we just change this maybe to square ribs. Gutter, we change this to maybe colonial, and this raking edge to external. We'll come back again to claddings to edit the colors. The roof color or the roof tiles color can be paint 4. Framing color should be maybe white, paint 01. Edge boards are paint 01 already. Soffits paint 01. Flashings, we can change this to paint 5. Then gutter and pipes into paint 01 too. Now click OK, so that our roof plan will look exactly. So we can actually have a roof plan like this. So you can see. So this is how a roof plan should be. Then you can now show your direction of flow using an arrow sign. So successfully we have roofed this building, and I've showed you how to place a parapet so you can see how realistic the roofing is and how accurate it is. So I believe you have learned something. Kindly like, share, and subscribe to this YouTube channel for more amazing videos like this.